What's up, guys? Welcome to my review of Linda K. Fischer Park Disc Golf Course in Lake in the Hills, Illinois. It's a short 9-hole course. It's not the most challenging course in the world, but it does have some very thick rough on both sides of the fairways. The fairways are very narrow, and that makes it very easy to lose discs. But let's get on to hole 1. So as you can see on hole 1, it's only 280 feet, so it's not too long, but it's just a straight tunnel shot. It's got a very low ceiling, and this is a very easy hole to bogey on. If you hit one of these trees, it's very difficult to get your par. I usually just like to throw a very straight mid-range and just kind of get up there and take my par for this hole. Hole 2, 325 feet. It says it's a par 4, but this whole course is just a bunch of par 3s. This is a very narrow fairway. There are those two trees right in front of the basket, or in front of the tee, that you have to watch out for. This fairway is very, very narrow. The rough on either side is very thick as well, so you definitely want to stay out of there. And what I like to do for this hole is just kind of throw a big hyzer out over that stuff and let it fade back into the fairway with just a stable to overstable fairway driver, or if you can throw your mid ranges far enough, a stable to overstable mid range would work just as well. On to hole 3. Hole 3 is one of the easier holes on the course. It's wide open, 253 feet, and it's just uphill. Again, this has a pretty narrow fairway. It's probably only about 20 feet wide, but this one is a very easy hole to birdie. There's not much stuff in the way. All you got to do is just be accurate. I like to just kind of forehand one of my Firebirds and just let it fade right next to the basket, and it sits down perfectly. On to hole 4. 360 feet. It's pretty downhill. This is probably my favorite hole on this course. There's usually a strong headwind coming from down by where that lake is, you can see. And it looks a lot more narrow between those two trees than it actually is. It's very deceiving, but what I like to do is I like to take one of my Firebirds and just throw a huge hyzer out right over that tree and just let it fade and kind of spike down right next to the basket. It works really well. I know a lot of people struggle with this hole, trying to throw straight at it, and that's kind of why I've taken that hyzer line out to the outside. We go from hole 4, my favorite hole, onto hole 5, my least favorite hole. Hole 5 is 210 feet. It's very uphill, and it's very narrow. It's probably only maybe 10, maybe 15 feet wide. This hole is very, very easy to get a bogey on. If you just clip one of the trees either side, you're going to get knocked into some rough that's very thick, and it's very difficult to consistently get a 2 or a 3 on this hole. Now to hole 6. Hole 6 is the first of the blind holes. Hole 6 is 220 feet downhill, and then the basket's tucked to the right there. Like I said earlier, it's a blind hole. You cannot see the basket at all. It's down and to the right, so I like to just throw a forehand. It's a very nice lefty hyzer shot, but for right-hand backhand, it's very difficult. Hole 7 is another blind hole. Hole 7 is 335 feet, and it's uphill. It's uphill and then to the left around those trees up there. The whole left side is just covered in very, very thick trees, so you definitely want to stay out of there. And the whole right has probably like knee to waist high grass, so you want to try and stay out of there. Again, it's another very narrow fairway. This hole, if you're right-handed, you can just throw a nice right-hand backhand hyzer and land up there. Or if you can't throw that far, it's very easy to just lay up and then make your putt from there. Hole 8 is 305 feet. It's downhill, not quite as steep as hole 4 was downhill, but it is also a downhill shot. And this one, the basket is behind those bushes there, so it's kind of a blind hole, but you can tell where the basket is. The green on this one is very narrow. It's maybe only 40 feet, so you definitely want to be as accurate as possible. Some people will try and just throw straight up and over that bush. Some people will try straight and just around it. I like to take my Firebird and just throw a big hyzer line and just let it hit the ground and stop right underneath the basket. On to hole 9, the final hole of the course. It is 340 feet long. It's pretty straight and to the left a little bit. There's the two houses there you can see up and to the left of the fairway. The basket is right in line with the left house. You can see the roof of it just a little bit right next to that tree. So it's a very nice right-hand, backhand hyzer line. The unfortunate thing is it is blind, and the green is very downhill. The first half of this hole, it's a little bit uphill, and then the second half goes downhill, and the green is very downhill, so it makes it very, very prone to rollaways, and if you have a long putt, you might want to just lay up just so you're not worrying about going down the hill, and now you have an even farther putt. I like to throw a stable to overstable, fairway driver, maybe a distance driver, depending on the wind, just because I like to be accurate. The fairway is very narrow, and it's very thick on both sides. Alright guys, that is my review of Linda K. Fischer Park Disc Golf Course in Lake in the Hills, Illinois. Overall, it's an alright course. It's not the best. I like to play it just because it's close to my house. I wouldn't recommend driving much more than maybe 20 minutes to come play it. But overall, it's not bad. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.